Hey, what's going on YouTube channel? Stars down again, y'all. And this is that Go Hard or Go Home channel. All right, today I want to talk about the silent war that men are having over women. Okay, it's a little personal outtake thing, but I want to see what other people think about it. All right, so what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be talking a little bit about this chart. It comes from another video that I made called "The Hierarchy of Human Dating." If you want to get more info on the chart, go check that video out. But I'm using it today to talk about this a little bit. All right. So what we're gonna go over in this video is we're gonna talk about the hierarchy a little bit. We're gonna go about what the war. We're gonna talk about what the war comes in at, the fighting and stuff like that. What's really going on, and the offset of power amongst men. And we're gonna talk about some of the problems that the 90% of men that the bottom line there have, and why it's probably not going to work out good for them. And then we're going to get out of here. Won't take too long. So let's get started. And y'all hit like, subscribe, share if y'all like this, and join the Alpha Squad, join the journey. All right. So look, guys, we're going to talk about first, ladies, if y'all here too, the hierarchy of human dating here. All right. The top 10% of these people here, if you want to look here at the chart, right here, all right, top 10%, they're at the top. Y'all see that? All right. These people are leaders of society. That's the top 10% of men and women, okay? That's not just men. That's men and women, all right? And it doesn't mean rich. It means the ability to lead others. It's more like a mentality, okay? We're going to get into more of that here later in the video, all right? But I wanted to talk about this a little bit in the beginning, okay? You have that top 10% of people who are the leaders of society, and you got the remaining 90% of women, okay? Which this could range from anything. And then you got the remaining 90% of men, which the remaining 90% of men in general is going to be like the guys who are like workers or such, like pretty much just that. Because if a guy becomes anywhere near management or leadership, he's probably joining the top 10% of men in that way. Top 10% of men don't mean you rich. It just means you can lead others. It's got done talking about leadership, right? So roll on with that. I want to talk about that a little bit first. Okay, so this is where the fight comes in. Why I say there's a silent war, because people don't talk about this. That remaining 90% of men at the bottom, they want the same access to women that the top 10% has, okay? And we all know that the top 10% of men has access to pretty much 100% of women. If you look here at this chart, right? You got the top 10% of women, they're going to choose the top 10% of men. You got the remaining 90% of women, of course, they would choose also the top 10% of men. So the top 10% of men, they got 100% of access to women, okay? That's like that 80-20 or 90-10 rule thing, okay, that the MGTOW Red Pill Manosphere talks about a lot. And they talk about that a lot because a lot of those guys are part of it, you know what I'm saying? These guys at the bottom, from what I'm coming to figure out for myself, it just, like I say, it's a personal view on it. They think they're fighting some type of impending matriarchy, right? You know, women are gonna be in charge, women are just too much in charge. I think that's what a lot of them think. But when in fact these guys are fighting patriarchy, okay, I'm gonna explain that right here. I'm gonna turn my notes over. We're moving on through this. All right. It's not this thing when people look at this chart, this is not happening because of matriarchy. This is happening because of patriarchy. And I'm explaining that why I think that now. All right. The real fight here has to do with the fact that like the top 10% of men in society are making all the rules. Okay. because all remaining women and all the women in the top 10% would choose those men, and all the 90% of the remaining women will listen to those men, and the remaining 90% of men in general, if you're looking at the chart, have to follow these men. So the top 10% of men are pretty much making all the rules of society. While I'm saying this, I want to bring up things like women only been voting for not even 100 years. So the rules of society that most men want to so-called change in that bottom 90%, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video here. Those rules are put in place by men. We're going to talk about that in a minute here, okay? So even with women having being 51% of the country and having, you know, a lot of voting power, things like Roe versus Wade were overturned, which was the thing that had to do with abortion and stuff like that. And they're still fighting for abortion laws now. So it's obvious that women is not a matriarchy you're fighting. It's a patriarchy. And patriarchy is going to support certain levels of hypergamy. We're going to get to that in a few minutes here, okay? Now, this thing that I'm just talking about, it creates also the power amongst men, all right? And it's called this whole 90 versus 10% fight that nobody really talks about, okay? Because the guys at the top are actively using this to crush the guys at the bottom. They may not know that, but it's really happening. We're going to get to that in a few minutes here, okay? 90% of the men at the bottom, that remaining 90% of men at the bottom, they make several complaints, all right? They say women are hypergamous, divorce laws favor women, and that men at the top get all the women, which we've already known that for years, okay? And what I want to bring up with this video is why I'm keeping it short, because I want to get the comments to see what people are going to say. Y'all make sure y'all hit like, subscribe, share if y'all think this is good stuff. And I think as many guys that need to see it as possible need to see it. All right, so ladies, y'all make sure y'all hit it too, because I think y'all probably going to think more of this. But here we go. You got to start understanding, folks, that this thing ain't going to work out for the guys at the bottom. The 90% of men ain't going to work out for them. All right. I say it's a silent fight. And the reason why I say it's a silent fight or a silent war is because nobody brings up the fact that the guys at the top are actively using rules to employ some of this stuff. I'm about to go over that right now. All right. So the men at the top, they make the rules, guys. It's just the truth. Women have been voting for maybe, it's not even been 100 years. And even with them voting, like I just said, stuff get like they still fighting for certain rights and things like that, because men are still pretty much in charge. There's a patriarchy in charge, which guys don't understand. That's why I say it's a silent fight between, they think it's over women and women being this and that, but I'm about to get into this right quick, all right? Look, the men at the top are making the rules, and they will always reward women for hypergamy, all right? Because that brings more women to them, all right? And no one makes rules against themselves. So guys got to understand that. That's why I say it's a silent fight. And maybe most guys didn't even know it was there. But if you know it's there, then you can do something about it. What can you do about it? Well, hey, you might want to start getting into some leadership positions and stuff like that and start trying to become part of that 10%. Like I said, it doesn't mean you're rich. It just means that you're probably in a leadership position or you're some type of leader. You're not a follower. That's really what it means. But I want to throw that little bit of motivation in there in the middle of this, if anybody's still watching at that point. Y'all hit like, subscribe, share, and join the Alpha Squad, because we'll talk about more stuff like this as we go along in the years, all right? This is just starting the conversation. That's all it's doing, is starting the conversation. So what did you think about this? What did you think about this and the facts that I presented? All right? So y'all hit like, subscribe, share, join the Alpha Squad, join the journey, and you know, it's a silent fight going on between the 10% of men and the 90% of men. But the 90% at the bottom is going to get crushed by the top every time. It's been going on for thousands of years. So you guys start understanding that. All right? So y'all hit like, subscribe, share, and tell me what you think about this video. It's Taurus down to y'all, and it's that Go Hard or Go Home channel. And we out of here on this one, y'all. Peace.